Hey kiddos, welcome to this week's homework where we're looking at customary weight. Remember the difference between customary and metric is customary is what we use in the US and metric is what the majority of the world uses. So first things we started with, and I know that these are on your printable, but I want you to really practice and make sure you feel comfortable with these, was just our basics. So number one was how many ounces are there in a pound? There are 16 ounces in 1 pound. How many ounces are in a ton? There are there are 32,000 ounces in 1 ton. If I was not sure how to do this, what my strategy could be is that there are 2,000 pounds in a ton and there are 16 ounces in a pound. So I could drop the zeros, find the fact, 16 times 2 is 32, multiply, put my zeros back. So this is what our formula would look like for this one. What is the abbreviation we use for ounces? Ounces is OZ. How many pounds are there in a ton? There are 2,000 pounds in 1 ton. What is the abbreviation for pounds? It's LB or LBS. And then what is the abbreviation for tons? It is a capital T. Notice that ounces and pounds are lowercase, and then our tons is uppercase. Any questions on these? Bring them with you to class. All right, Nuggets, time to convert. So remember in class, we talked about pulling the details that we need and setting them up in the same order. If they're on the same side, I divide. Opposite sides, I multiply. So I need to know that there is 1 pound in 16 ounces. Opposites, I'm going to multiply. 4 times 16 gives me 64 ounces. Over here, 2 tons is how many pounds? Well, 1 ton is equal to 2,000 pounds. Opposite sides multiply. 2 times 2 is 4. Add your zeros. Ounces into tons. I have two options with this. I can do ounces to pounds and pounds to tons, or I can go right back here where I gave myself this abbreviation. I gave myself this fact, and I know that I have to divide this by 32,000, but we know that it doesn't have to be scary because what I really need to do is divide 224 by 32, which is completely doable. And then I put my zeros back. So 32 goes in 7 times and my zeros work out. Okay. Drop your zeros, find your fact, divide. And we don't need to put our zeros back for this one. All right, pounds to tons. There are 2,000 pounds in 1 ton. Same side, I divide. 2 goes into 6 3 times. So 2,000 goes into 6,000 3 times. 5 tons is equal to how many ounces? Again, I remember that 1 ton had 32,000 ounces. Opposite sides, I multiply. 5 times 32 gives me 160. Don't forget my zeros. Remember, I can box it, I can split it. If it's easier to do 30 times 5 and 2 times 5, I could split it that way and get 150 and 10. I can box it, I can stack it, whatever works for you. Stick with the way your brain prefers. Ounces to pounds, there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. Same side, I divide. 144 divided by 16 gives me 9. Any questions on these? Bring them with you to class. All right, Nuggets, we have seen these in class. When I have pounds and ounces or two options, I know I'm dividing and I'm going to have some left over. As a reminder, anytime I have a remainder, it stays in its current label. So anything left over from this is going to stay as ounces. So there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. When I divide 50 by 16, I get 3 with a remainder of 2. 3 pounds, 2 ounces. Pounds to tons, there are 2,000 pounds in a ton. Same side, I divide. 2,000 goes into 4,000 2 times with 70 left over. Ounces to pounds, there are 16 ounces in a pound. When I divide 95 by 16, I get 5 with a remainder of 15. 2,000 pounds in a ton. This one was tricky, okay? It's going to go in 4 times because 4 times 2 is 8. And it leaves me with 1,200 pounds. You are not wrong. There are 2,000 pounds in a ton, so we can have a remainder that is anything less than 2,000. This was a sticky one. Ounces, there are 16 ounces in a pound. When I divide 433 by 16, I get 27 with a remainder of 1. And then pounds to ton, again, 2,000 is going to go in 1 time, and it's going to leave me with 1,558. Any questions? Bring them with you to class. All right, Nuggets, you were to answer the question with the pictures and then use this question based on the pictures. So let's take a look. What would I measure in tons? I would measure a building, an elephant, and a boat, because I know that a ton is 2,000 pounds. So it would have to be something that is significant or pretty big in size. Then it says, what would you measure in pounds and what would you measure in ounces? So I'm going to do my pounds in yellow. And for pounds, I would do a backpack, I would do a boy, and I can do the ball. And then I'm going to do my ounces in red, and I would do a snowflake, a pencil, a frog, and a flower. What would I measure in ounces? Well, in ounces, I would measure a piece of cheesecake, some jam, some broccoli, a snail, and a bow. And then it also wants to know what would be measured in pounds. So I'm going to turn to my yellow. Pounds would be the bench and the wheelbarrow. And then it also wants tons. Tons would be a planet, a camel, and an airplane. All right, starting with pounds this time, I would measure a koala bear. I would measure I would also measure a pumpkin. And that would probably be it for what I would measure. And then what would I measure in, let me switch my colors. What would I measure in ounces? Ounces, I would measure the acorn. I would measure the glasses. I would measure a fish and a cupcake. And then what would I measure in, actually, let's measure a bathtub. No, we'll do tons. What would I measure in tons? Sorry, kiddos, I got really distracted there. And crowns, I would do in ounces. And then tons would be the bus, the spaceship, and the tub or the desk. All right, kiddos. Any questions on these? Bring them with you to class. All right, lovies. A goat was born at 7 pounds. After 30 days, she now weighs 21 pounds. How much weight did she gain in the first 30 days? Well, I know that there are 16 ounces in a pound, and it wants it in ounces. So I'm going to start with how many pounds did we gain? So 7 and 4 is 11. So she gained 14 pounds, but I want it in ounces. So I'm going to multiply that by 16. And that is going to give me 224 ounces. Remember, what are they asking me to do? What numbers are they giving me to use? A bag of candy is 80 ounces. How many pounds? Well, there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. So I'm going to do 80 divided by 16, and I would get 5 pounds. A sugar bag weighs 4 pounds and you need 46 ounces. Will 4 pounds be enough? If not, how much more will you need? If it is enough, how much will be left over? So I need to first change my pounds to ounces. So 4 pounds times 16 ounces, because I know that there are 16 ounces in a pound. When I do that, 4 times 16 gives me 64 ounces. So will I have enough? Yes, absolutely. What's left over? I'm going to subtract what I need, and I need to make sure that I borrow. And I'm going to be left over with 18. So is there enough? Yes. And 18 ounces is my leftovers. A turkey weighs 8 pounds. How many ounces is it? So I need to do 8 times 16. And when I do 8 times 16, I get 128. Oh, I missed one. All right, we'll come back to that one. A semi can hold up to 12 tons. The current target is 7 tons. How much more can it hold in pounds? We'll start off with subtracting the tons. So 12 tons minus 7 tons is 5 tons. And I'm going to times that by 2,000. So there is 10,000 pounds more room available. And then the one that I skipped, an elevator can hold 1 ton if the average person weighs 200 pounds. How many people would the maximum be allowed on an elevator? So 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. And if I do 2,000 divided by 200, I can fit 10 people. 10 people would be my max. All right, sweet faces, any questions, bring them with you to class.